Welcome to Whiskey is a Journey. My name is Peter Faciano. Today is Friday. I have another segment of my bottle battles. If you're not familiar with this segment, I have a bunch of random samples that I put together in a random sample pool. I've got these stickered here on the bottom. What I'm going to end up doing is pouring them, nose them, taste them, and then I'm going to talk about them a little bit. And throughout the entire time I'm doing this, I'm going to try to figure out which one I like the most. And at the very end, I will reveal to myself what I've been drinking and give you an idea of why I put these matchups together. So before I go on with this, just a reminder, I have an October giveaway happening. All of the rules to that giveaway are in the description below. If you end up watching this video and you like what I'm doing, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, turn on that bell notification because I produce videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. All right, let's go ahead and get on to glass number one on my right. It smells very sweet. I mean, like over the top sweet. Got a lot of dark fruit, dark raisin. And it has a little bit of a sulfur note. I mean, a very, very slight sulfur note. When I get a sulfur note, I always think that it's going to be some type of Irish sherry matured or sherry finished. It does smell really chocolatey. Sorry, my mouth is already watering. It smells very chocolatey as well. I think we're dealing with some sort of malt here. A single malt. Irish, maybe, because of that sulfur note. So let's go ahead and get this thing on the palate. Cheers, everybody. Holy cow, that is really good. I definitely think we're dealing with some sort of malt, and I think we are dealing with a sherry matured or finished. Since I don't really have a whole lot of Irish that are sherry matured, I think this might be a Scotch with some sort of sherry influence. There is a really good dark raisin note coming through, along with malt, along with chocolate. Not picking up any of the sulfur notes on the palate than I was on the nose. Tell you what, that's really good. I'm gonna go ahead and get a rinse of water and then move on to glass number two. All right, before I took that sip of water, I wanted to let that finish last a little longer. There is a very dark, rich concentration of notes that just linger around. When I say a dark concentration of notes, that chocolate and that dark raisin just lingered around for quite a while. The finish on this is really good. Like I said before, I think this is going to be sherry, a sherry single malt. I don't know what else it would be based on what I'm getting on the nose and the palate. So let's go ahead and move on to glass number two and see if this is matched up because it's another sherry single malt. This is way more plummy, really dark plums and prunes. When I was younger, my mom used to have prune juice in the refrigerator. If I can find a picture of it, I'll put it up here as far as like the brand goes. And I remember like taking little sneaky sips of it because I really like the taste of prune juice. And this is exactly what that smells like. It brings me back memories of the prune juice sneaking sips out of the refrigerator. She didn't like that. She was like, that stuff's mine, leave it alone. Yeah, this is just straight up prune juice. Let's get it on the palate. Yeah, even though these are very similar as far as I think what they are, they're sherry single malts, this is much richer with a sweeter prune rather than a dark grape and chocolate. This might be a little bit over casked. There might be too much sweetness, too much prune for my liking. It just is really strong and really overpowering. Let me go ahead and get a rinse of water. Taste this again because it might be too much, but we'll see on that second sip. All right, got to hand it to glass number two. I mean, it is sticky. It's sticking around. It's very viscous, very oily, and maybe a little bit too sweet. Maybe one note wonder. And if you don't like prune juice, maybe that's not a wonder of a note. But I mean, it's good, but I think it's just too much. So let's get that second sip in. All right, that second sip may not be as viscous as I thought it would. It does wash over the tongue. It saturates underneath the tongue. That prune note is really intense. I do get malt, but that's pretty much it. Prune and malt. Still very good. As far as the proof goes, it is lighting up my mouth a little bit. There is an alcohol burn. I would say there is also some Christmas spices in there as well. Very long finish. I mean, it just latches on and hangs around. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get back to glass number 1 and then let my palate calm down a little bit. And then if I need to go back to glass number 2, I will. But right now, I think glass number 1 is in the running because it seems to be a little bit more nuanced. So I'll be right back. All right, back to glass number 1. Yeah, there's just more depth to this one. The chocolate, the raisin, the malt. I'm not getting any of the Christmas spices on the nose that I was getting on the palate with this one. So let's get it back on the palate. All right, now it's interesting. This one's stinging the palate a little bit more. Maybe a little bit higher proof. I've got an effervescence feeling all the way across my tongue. There is that definite sherry influence here. That dark raisin. Definitely malty, and I really do like that chocolate note that's coming through. I think there's, again, more depth, more complex flavors coming out of glass 1 over glass 2. That glass 2 is just very, you guessed it, pruny and very sweet with not a whole lot of anything else to offer. I want to say that the proof on glass 1 is slightly higher than glass number 2, and it's a little bit more complex. So I really don't think there's anything more to do other than to reveal what it is that I've been drinking. Let this meld a little bit and then grab the bottles and figure out why I put this whole matchup together. So my least favorite, and I'm not saying that I don't like it, but in this battle, it's coming in second place. I want to say that they are single malt scotches. It's a sherry influence. And I don't really think there's really much age to it. I think they are well-rounded, but there's really not much to glass number 2. So glass number 2, this is not a single malt scotch. This is Westland, and it's their release, 2635. My favorite of the battle is, Tamdhu batch number 7. So let me grab these bottles and remind myself of the proof and the price, and let me explain a little bit why I put this battle in here. All right, so I have a Westland. This is the single cask Westland American Single Malt, cask number 2635. This is 110.6 proof, and it is a Washington Select barley, and it is a cask type of PX hogsheads. I think that's where that prune note is coming from. And it's matured for 7 years. Okay. And I paid $100 for it. And then the Tamdhu, this is the batch strength, batch number 7. And this is about $115. We're looking at 57.5% ABV. And it is sherry oak cask matured as well. So obviously, if you haven't figured this out, it is an American single malt with a PX cask, and I think, I'll put it up here if it's not, but I think Tamdhu is also exclusively PX matured as well. Comparable in ABV and comparable in price. And in this case, I think the Westland is a little bit too much cask forward. And if there is an American single malt on the radar for you, let me know what it is in the comments so I can kind of keep an eye out for it. I would really like to do a little bit more American single malts, match them up against Irish and Scotch and Japanese, see how they fare. Because so far, what I've had from America and their single malts, I like quite a bit. So I'd be curious to hear from everybody on what is on your radar for American as single malts. All right, let's go ahead and get on to this blend and see what we have. Wow, a lot of tobacco and chocolate and leather. And that prune note, holy cow, it is so dominant. Smells very sweet and very malty. All right, let's go ahead and get it on the palate. Well, I gotta say that's pretty damn good. There is more of an effervescent on the palate than I was getting on the second sip with this one. The prune, the chocolate, the leather, the tobacco, everything that I was getting on the nose is coming through on the palate. That's really good. But I do believe that it is still a little bit over casked for my liking. I think those sweet sherry notes and those prune notes are really strong. And I think what gets lost in it is the malt. But this is still really good. I actually think I like the blend more than these two individually. There is just something about how the prune, the raisin, the ABV, that effervescence, the chocolate, leather, and tobacco add just another level of complexity to it. That's really good. All right, if you've had any one of these or either of these, let me know in the comments down below. If you have a special single cask from Westland, also let me know down below, along with your recommendations for other American single malts. That's where I'm going to leave it today. Wherever you're at in your journey, I hope you're enjoying it, and we'll talk to everybody later. Bye.